Hari Om. Today we will proceed with Bhagavad Geeta chapter 12 from verse number 16. So in these closing verses of chapter 16, the Lord is giving more qualities of a true devotee of the Lord, true bhakta of the Lord. So we have looked at some other qualities from the earlier verses, and let us look at some more qualities of a true devotee of the Lord. So in verse number 16, the Lord says, Mad Bhaktaha. Mad Bhaktaha means my devotee. Yaha is one who is anapeksha. Anapeksha here means indifferent to desires, meaning the one who is not emotionally dependent on the fulfillment of desires for his or her peace of mind. Thus, there are no expectations of desires to be fulfilled. If desires come unsought for, the devotee enjoys them. If they don't come, it does not cause any disappointment. So one who is free from all binding expectations. Therefore, a devotee's mind, peace of mind, should not be dependent on external factors. One can have desires, but with the understanding that not all desires can be fulfilled and we must learn to be content. Next quality of a devotee is suchi, which means pure. And pureness here means cleanliness both internally and externally. External cleanliness means the clothes we wear, our environment, etc. Internal cleanliness is always cultivating dharmic thoughts, right thoughts, or thoughts that do not violate dharma. Next quality is daksha, which means dexterous. Dexterous means the ability of a devotee to respond to various situations in life correctly. So a devotee is efficient in all situations, does not let any event destroy him, but acts to uplift himself out of any situation. And generally, a person gets into two extremes. One is known as impulsive reaction. When facing a situation without using any discriminative power, impulsively he acts, and often such kind of impulsive action does not solve the situation. That is one extreme. The other extreme is the person, in the name of goodness and compassion, allows everyone to exploit him. Scriptures never say you should be a victim of injustice in the name of compassion and forgiveness. So inaction is another extreme response. One becomes a doormat and for others, and that is one. And the other is extreme, where you keep on hitting back at everybody without thinking carefully. So one is reaction, the other is inaction. Both are wrong. What is required is appropriate action by using our powers of discrimination. Thus, a bhakta is one who is ever a person of action, guided by discrimination, takes appropriate actions in all situations of life. Next quality, udhasinaha, impartial. Impartial means does not take sides with friends or relatives or strangers just to win favor or support, but always stands by the side which is following the dharmic or righteous path. So impartial, udasina. Gatavyataha, free from pain. Pain here means sorrow. Whatever be the type of experiences a devotee faces in life, a devotee knows that all experiences are determined by desa, kala, prarabdha. So desa means what we call the place or the environment that can cause all kinds of situations in our life. Kala is a particular time when we face certain situations, and prarabdha also refers to our past karmas which are fructifying in this life. So it might be environment can be extremely cold or extremely hot. There can be floods, etc. the devotee is not affected. Also, there is prarabdha which governs a bhakta's life, which will time to time bring favorable and unfavorable situations. So, we must understand that jnanam, knowledge, cannot change the external situation. But jnanam will help a devotee in developing a healthy attitude towards all situations. And what is that attitude? That all experiences I'm receiving are for my spiritual growth only. We all require different types of experience for spiritual growth. So everybody does not face same situations. Depending on what you need for your spiritual growth, every experience is chosen for each individual to grow spiritually. Next quality, sarva aramba parityagi. Parityagi means to give up, sarva means all, aramba means binding actions. So what are binding actions? Any action done only with the objective of some selfish personal gain, where one does not think about the consequences of negative impact of others on others. This attitude of selfish expectations makes the karma into a binding karma. And a true devotee of Lord, parityagi means renounces, gives up such selfish motives. Because no karma can give purnatvam. Many people perform action to get self-satisfaction, but a devotee understands that no action can give purnatvam, meaning total happiness, because action is finite, result is finite, finite plus finite equals finite only. So if I'm going to expect purnatvam or total fulfillment, it is not going to happen. Whatever I get, that will come. Desire for something more again will arise. So we are always caught in the endless web of actions and results, leading to more desires and more actions. So a bhakta knows this fact and does not act for fulfillment. All his actions come out of fulfillment, not for fulfillment, but he acts with the attitude of fulfillment. Having already discovered this purnatvam, the bhakta undertakes all action with the attitude, before the action I was purnatvam, while doing the action I am purnatvam, after the action is complete, whether it is success or failure, I remain ever purnatvam. Purnatvam is not the destination, but purnatvam is a way of life. Next, so the Lord says, Priya, such a devotee of mine who has all these qualities, is Priya, is most dearest to me. Verse 17, more qualities here. Yaha na rishyati. Yaha, the one who does not, rishyati, rejoice. And the one who na sochati, the one who does not, sochati means to lament or cry. So the two opposite experiences of life that come to everyone, whether you are a devotee of God or not. However, the devotee does not rejoice, does not get carried away, does not get arrogant or start boasting when he is going through many favorable situations. He remains humble, recognizes that all favorable situations are a blessing from the Lord. And when unfavorable conditions come, the bhakta of the Lord also what we call, when we talk about experiences like joy and sorrow, the emotional responses do not become so intense that they cloud his discriminating power. So even in terms of sorrow, he doesn't get dejected, depressed, frustrated, etc. So under both favorable and unfavorable conditions, he remains na sochati, na hrishyati, does not rejoice, na sochati, does not lament also. So a devotee has what we call viveka shakti, that is, he has the power of discrimination. It's not carried away, tossed and turned by favorable and unfavorable experiences. And one of the examples we can see in Ramayana, when King Dasarath ordered Lord Rama to be exiled to the forest, Lakshman, his brother, Rama's brother, became so furious, although it was not Lakshman who was being exiled, that he started to verbally abuse his own father. But Lord Rama, who was the one being exiled, was calm and composed and said, "This is the play of prarabdha karma." He understood. And Lord Rama said, "When I am in exile in the forest, what a wonderful opportunity for me to visit the hermitages of the saints and the sages and learn at the feet of the great masters." Next quality, one who has freedom from dveshti. Na dveshti. Dveshti means hate. Na kankshati, who also does not hanker. So raga means kankshati, hanker means raga. That means we are attracted, we are hankering for favorable situation. You always want everything to go your way. Dvesha is not wanting to face unfavorable situation. It is so there is raga, there is dvesha. So one who only wants to have favorable situations in life, and one who fears or runs away from unfavorable situations in life, like Arjuna, who was on the battlefield and wanted to run away from the battle as the result of expectations. So therefore, one who faces both what we call the one who is free from hankering and one who is free from hate also. Shubha Ashubha Parityagi, the one who has Parityagi, renounce. Shubha means punyam, Ashubha means papam. So from Vedantic angle, from our scriptures, both punyam and papam are bondage only. Punyam will give us why the devotee of Lord also does not, why the devotee of Lord renounces punyam. Punyam will take us a lot of good deeds that we do. Where does it take us to? It takes us to maximum to Swarga Loka. And we enjoy the results of all our punyam. But once the results are exhausted, we have to come back again to earth. So a devotee of Lord renounces even punyam. He is not interested in punyam. He wants to get moksha. Moksha means going beyond the Swarga Loka. And at the same time, to have this punyam and papam keeps us rotating in continuous births. So papam also takes us to Naraka Loka. We suffer whatever wrong deeds we have done, and we come back again to earth. So a devotee is one who shuns both punyam and papam also. So a bhakta is very careful about his actions. Actions are pure, not seeking any punyam. And of course, he always avoids papam. And the Lord concludes in this verse 17 by saying, Yaha Bhaktiman, such a Bhaktiman, meaning one who is filled with devotion, has all these qualities, and such a devotee is Sahapriya, very dear to me. In verse number 18, more qualities given. A devotee of Lord is one who is Samaha. Samaha means equal-minded. To what? Satru. Satru means an enemy. Cha and Mitra, friend. So he is same to a friend or an enemy. One who has the same attitude towards a friend or a foe. Now, of course, a bhakta does not look upon anyone in his enemy, as an enemy. He considers everyone as his friend. But it is other people who look upon bhakta as their enemy or their friend, and they may also try to harm the bhakta. So whatever be the response or action of the bhakta looks upon all of them with samaha or samatvam. What is samatvam? The bhakta does not develop hatred. He does not hate the person who is hostile to him. He does not get unduly attached to a person just because the person is favorable to him. Now, that does not mean a bhakta that does not mean a bhakta will put up with wrong action of others. He will criticize or disapprove of a wrong action, and if appropriate action is needed, he will do so. But when he takes action against anybody, there is no fragment of hatred in his heart. The aim is not to make the person suffer. The aim is to correct that person, and a bhakta also feels the pain when he has to use violence or any form of punishment to correct the other person. Example, a mother punishes a child or a guru punishes a disciple. So it is not done out of hatred, it is done out of love to see that person change. So compassion does not mean putting up with wrong action. Even Bhagwan had to kill the asuras, but it was with compassion and love, not out of hatred and anger, for the purpose of releasing the asuras from their present sinful life. Tatha mana apamana. Tatha, also one who is samaha, equanimous, with respect to mana, which means honor, apamana, which means dishonor. Because as long as we are interacting with this world, we face this kind of situations from time to time. People give us honor, or people what we call dishonor us also. So there is always a possibility that we'll face these situations in life. So sometimes people may garland us, may praise us, and even sometimes people may verbally attack us also or criticize us also. And even Rama and Krishna also face these situations in life. So we cannot avoid this. We cannot control the external situations. A bhakta is one who is mentally prepared to handle both honor, not to be carried away, and dishonor, not to feel dejected. A bhakta is one who knows how to handle both mana and apamana effectively. Next qualities, there are 4 pairs of opposites mentioned here in verse number 18. Sita is cold, Usna is heat, which are 2 types of opposites we face at the physical level, at the body level. Sometimes we face extreme weather conditions which are cold, sometimes extreme weather conditions which are hot. Then Sukha and Dukkha. Sukha is favorable situations, Dukkha is unfavorable situations. Again, 2 pairs of opposites we face, but this is at the mental level. So we see all pairs of opposites, a devotee sees it as samaha, whether at physical level, whether at mental level. So the devotee sees both situations as that come and then they go, because they don't last too long. So wherever there is growth, there is decay. Wherever there is health, there is sickness. Wherever there is gain, there is loss. Life is a series of dvandva, means pairs of opposites, which nobody can escape from. We can only prepare our mind to accept them both and deal with the situations and not to be carried away. So we need a shock absorber, just like a car has to go through a rough patch of road uses a good shock absorber. It goes through it but does not feel the effect. So what is the shock absorber for a devotee? It is bhakti, devotion, it is jnanam, it is knowledge. Sangha vivarjita. Sangha vivarjita means free from attachment. So what we call, how is this possible to be free from attachment? If we go back to chapter 2, verse number 59, chapter 2, verse 59, Krishna said there, sense objects cease for him who does not enjoy them with his senses. Meaning, we can avoid contact with all the attractions of the world by restraining our senses into coming into contact with them. But Krishna says the taste for them persists. So merely by restraining our sense organs, we cannot forget all the enjoyments of the senses with the objects, because the past experiences are already embedded in our mind. But Krishna adds in that verse that relish also disappears in the case of the man with stable mind when he sees the Supreme. Meaning, only when we succeed in turning the mind inward and discovering the inner peace, the state of Purnatvam, will the taste for worldly objects no longer attract us. So, desires, lower desires for the world can only be replaced when we replace with desires for God. So the more and more we turn our mind to the spiritual path, slowly these desires for the world start to drift away, start to get diluted also. So desires cannot be suppressed. The mind has to be given a different channel to pursue higher desires. So that is another quality. Verse number 19, Lord gives some of qualities of a bhakta. He says, Ninda. A bhakta is one who does not, Ninda means does not speak about faults or criticism of others. Stutihi, speaking about good qualities only. So, previously, mana, apamana means they were spoken about, they refer to physical level. Ninda and stutihi refer to verbal level. So, physical level means somebody garlands you, this is mana. At another place, somebody throws something at you, that is apamana. Both are at physical level. Ninda and stuti mean those who praise or criticize you with words. So you can never avoid this. Whatever good you do, there will always be somebody who wants to criticize. As criticism does not involve any expenditure, it is free of charge. So anybody can criticize you as much as they want. There is no cost involved. But a bhakta is one who is able to receive praise, one who is able to receive praise and criticism without getting carried away with praises or without feeling dejected with criticism. Santushta yena kenachit. A bhakta is yena kenachit. Yena kenachit means whatever he receives in life, whatever he gets, santushta, he remains contented. As he knows whatever he is getting is a result of prarabdha. The uniqueness of a bhakta's mind is that he is easily pleased, as he has minimum wants and expectations. Thus, he is able to adjust to anything he obtains in life and even adjust with anybody's imperfections. So, that's why the ultimate level, the highest level of sannyasa, when one goes about begging for food from house to house, the sannyasi is required to stand outside a person's house and say, Bhavati Bhiksha Dehi. Bhavati Bhiksha Dehi means, give me something, right? He cannot say Bhavati Dosa Dehi or Bhavati Puri Dehi. He cannot dictate what he wants. He puts out his begging bowl, and whatever is put into his begging bowl, he accepts it as prasadam. He is content with whatever he receives in the begging bowl. Aniketa, homeless. So we must not take this literally that we have to give up our home and go and stay in a forest. So without a fixed home, meaning at the initial level when we are householder, he has no attachments to his house. Considers the house as a blessing from the Lord. It is a blessing given by the Lord. He has an attitude of detachment of his own place. And of course, sannyasa it means that it's at the highest level when you give up all your possessions and go and stay in a forest. And at the higher level, sannyasa means one is comfortable no matter whatever type of dwelling he gets. One day a sannyasi may be invited by a king and asked to stay at the palace. And after he gives his discourse at the palace, next day he might find himself sleeping on a hard floor in the forest. It makes no difference to a sannyasi. Sthiramatir. Sthiramatir means steady-minded. And all these qualities are possible. The jnani has derived inner strength. A bhakta has derived inner strength through the attainment of knowledge and through what we call strong bhakti, through strong devotion. It has become, the knowledge has become a conviction in him, and he is prepared to face all the trials and tribulations of the world. There is a short work written by Adi Sankaracharya. It is called Yati Panchakam. Yati means one who has realized his inner self, the real self. Thus, he has both external and internal renunciation. Panchakam means 5 verses. So, this is composed by Shankara on the qualities of a yati. Each verse ends with the same declaration. Kaupina vantaha khalu bhagyavantaha. Bhagyavantaha means blessed are those who wear the kaupina. Kaupina means the loincloth. So this does not mean that to get blessings we have to wear a loincloth, but it is to indicate that a truly happy person is one who can be peaceful with the bearers of possessions. So in verse number 2 of this Yati Panchakam, some of the qualities that Shankara gives are resorting to the foot of the tree alone for rest and sleep, using 2 hands as a bowl for food, that means eating food in moderation, looking upon wealth as an old cloth. Blessed are those who wear the loincloth, those who lead a simple life. Thus, a bhakta, firm in his conviction, Aham Atma Asmi, I am ever free, is a sthiramatir. He is endowed with firm knowledge, and therefore his mind is steady. He is not shaken very easily. So now Krishna has mentioned all these qualities from verses 13 to 19, and he concludes of his love for such a bhakta by saying, Naraha, the person, the bhakta, bhaktiman, is full of devotion, who has all these qualities, is full of devotion, and that devotee is priyaha, is very dear to me. So in the concluding verse of chapter 12, verse number 20, how to attain all these qualities, it may look like an impossible task. So Krishna wants to assure the devotees that if you have some basic qualification, you can easily acquire all these qualities. So what are the basic qualification? Idam paryupasate, one who goes through all these 5 levels of bhakti that were given in the earlier verses, yatha uktam, as has been stated before, that is from verses 13 to 19, all are these qualities, okay, and one who has gone through all these 5 stages, okay. So dharmyam amritam, which is amritam, nectar, because it will lead one to immortality. So as we go through these 5 levels, we will start to acquire more and more qualities of this bhakta, and ultimately they will lead to amritam, nectar, because they are dharmyam. These teachings help us to keep on the path of dharma, and any person who follows the path of dharma is automatically purified. So the Lord says, Shraddha Dhana, they must be endowed with faith. They must follow this. So only one who has faith in the Lord, faith in his teachings, faith in the Guru, will follow this path of dharma. And at the same time, Mad Parama, they must keep God as the ultimate goal in life. So we must not forget that the purpose of human life is to attain moksha. Keeping God as the ultimate goal in our life, the Lord says, Ativa Priya. Such devotees are Ativa, means exceedingly Priya, dear to me. So these are the guidelines for us to follow. Follow the path of dharma, follow the teachings in the scriptures, go through these 5 stages of bhakti yoga, attain all these qualities of a bhakta, and finally attain moksha. And thus ends the commentary on Bhakti Yoga chapter 12. When we resume in the next class, we will take up chapter 13 of the Bhagavad Gita. Hari Om Tat Sat.